Sit with this truth for a second. A man who's always available is never respected. Not by women, not by friends, not by the world. And deep down, not even by himself. It sounds harsh, but it's reality. A reality most men will die ignoring. And that's why they stay average. Why they stay broke. Why they stay forgotten. Because when you make yourself always available, you've already confessed something to the world. I have nothing greater to do. Nothing greater to be. Respect is not given to the idle. You think people value your presence? No. They value your scarcity. They respect your mission. They admire the man who chooses purpose over people. The man who's busy building doesn't need to tell anyone he's important. His absence screams it for him. But the man who's always around, always ready to hang out, always replying instantly, always bending his schedule, that man sends one loud, unspoken message. My time is cheap. My energy is yours. My life is for rent. And what happens to anything cheap? It's consumed, used, discarded, and replaced. You're killing your own value. Because the world judges you by one currency, your time. Where you spend it reveals who you are. And when you spend it everywhere, on everyone, without boundaries, you're saying, I'm a man without a center. A man without a core. Women sense it. Friends sense it. Employers sense it. Enemies sense it. And here's the brutal law. Nobody respects a man who doesn't respect himself enough to protect his time. Availability is weakness disguised as kindness. You think you're being nice. You think you're being loyal. You think being always there makes you dependable. But in reality, you've become the safety net, the backup plan, the default option. Not because they're evil, but because human nature doesn't admire what's effortless to get. We're wired to desire what's rare, what's earned, what's out of reach. When you're everywhere, for everyone, all the time, you become background noise. Predictable. Forgettable. Why do men fall into this trap? Because they fear being alone. They fear being misunderstood. They fear missing out. They fear losing love, losing approval, losing relevance. So they overcompensate. They overgive. They overshare. They overflow, hoping someone will look at all that effort and say, wow, he's valuable. But here's the dagger to the heart. Overavailability screams neediness. And neediness kills respect faster than failure ever could. A respected man is not antisocial, he's intentional. He's not ignoring everyone. He's not cold without reason. He's focused. He's selective. He knows that every yes to someone is a no to something else, usually his purpose. And his purpose cannot be compromised. That's why the great men of history didn't live for everyone's schedule. They lived for the mission. They disappeared for years to build. They went silent while others were screaming for attention. And when they returned, the world couldn't ignore them. Why? Because they created something worth noticing. Because they became someone worth remembering. Availability kills mystery. And mystery commands respect. When people know exactly where you are, what you're doing, and that you'll drop everything for them, you've made yourself ordinary, predictable, safe. But when you're disciplined, when you vanish into the grind, when you let your actions speak instead of your constant presence, people start asking questions. What's he working on? Why doesn't he need validation? What does he know that we don't? That curiosity turns into respect. That respect turns into admiration. That admiration turns into leverage. You want to be valued? Make yourself rare. Not by playing games. Not by ghosting for attention. But by actually being busy with becoming. busy building your body, busy sharpening your mind, busy creating wealth, busy crafting a life so solid that when you do appear, your presence feels like a gift, not a default setting. Here's the paradox. The more available you are, the less you're wanted. The less available you are, with a real purpose behind it, the more magnetic you become. But hear me clearly. This is not about fake scarcity. This is not about being hard to get for show. This is about actually doing the work. So when people can't find you, it's because you're busy building an empire, not begging for attention. Set boundaries. Guard your time like gold. Because it is gold. More precious than gold. You can get money back. You can rebuild reputation. But the hours you waste being everyone's yes man? They're gone forever. And every hour you give away carelessly is an hour stolen from your destiny. So stop answering every call. Stop saying yes to every hangout. Stop living as if your presence has no weight. Start making people earn your time. Start being a man who disappears for seasons to sharpen. Start being the storm they can't predict, because storms are respected. The world bows to men who are in motion, not to men who are waiting. Not to men who are lingering in group chats, sitting on couches, scrolling endlessly. But to men who are so committed to their path that everything else orbits around their gravity. Become that man. The one who is present when it matters, absent when it's noise, and relentless in building something bigger than himself. Because a man who's always available will always be overlooked. But a man who moves with purpose, the world clears the path. Final truth. Respect doesn't come from words. It doesn't come from availability. It comes from boundaries, focus, and the willingness to walk alone while others are desperate to belong. So choose. Do you want to be accessible to everyone? Or admired by the few who matter? Because you can't be both.